And of course, you can join us with your comments via our social media handles on X, on Facebook, and of course on myjoyonline.com. Now it's official. The end of government restructuring program with official creditor following its latest International Monetary Fund bailout. The Finance Minister, Mohammed Amin Adam, announced at a town hall meeting with Ghanaians in Croydon, London. According to him, not only has government restructured its $5.1 billion with its creditors, but has also concluded restructuring of $13.1 billion with its Eurobond holders. We'll hear from him shortly. But this afternoon, the Finance Ministry has also released an official statement on the deal, spelling out details of the agreement reached with the creditors. Kofi Ajay will join me shortly to break it down for you this afternoon. But let's hear the optimism of the Finance Minister as he looks forward to a very robust Ghanaian economy post-COVID.
This economy is rebounding strongly. We are rebounding strongly, and it's surprising the world. Even the IMF, the World Bank, they're all surprised. Last year, they projected our economy will grow at 1.5%. We grew at 2.9%. This year, in the first quarter of this year, they projected we will grow at 3.1%. We grew at 4.7%. In the NDC time, for 3 consecutive years, manufacturing was negative. Last year, manufacturing was negative for us as well. But I can tell you, in the first quarter, manufacturing has turned positive. And the growth in the first quarter is fueled by industry. Industry alone grew 6.8%. And so there is hope. The manufacturing sector is coming back. We are going to continue to create jobs in addition to the 2 million jobs that we have created already. This economy will grow, and it will grow faster than everybody thinks. By the end of this year, we are supposed to grow at 3.2%, but I can tell you, we'll grow at 5% or even more than 5%. This is because of the pragmatic policies we are implementing as a government. And so don't let anybody talk you down. You should raise your head up, and you know that your government is doing the right thing. We are bringing the economy back. Our president said that we know how to bring the economy back, and that is exactly what we are doing. The good news, many projects had to stall because when we decided to go to IMF, one of the conditions was that Ghana had to do what we call debt operation. We had to go and restructure our debts because our debts were considered unsustainable. I want to announce, for those of you who are interested in the debt restructuring, which has become Ghana's most difficult problem for the past 2-3 years, we are bringing it to an end. We are bringing the debt restructuring to an end. Last 2 weeks, we concluded negotiation with the official creditors, and we've agreed to restructure $5.1 billion. And I'm telling you, your government is good in negotiation. Of the $5.1 billion, we are going to make a savings of about $2 billion. As I speak to you, tomorrow morning, there will be an announcement that we have also concluded our negotiation with the Eurobond holders, $13.1 billion. And ladies and gentlemen, when we announce it, please read the details. We have negotiated a good deal for Ghana that will save us $8 billion. All this money we will no longer pay. We will have to use it well. And so the president has decided that we will create a special fund like we did with HIPC, so we can direct these savings to strategic infrastructure projects, so we can take our economy to another level. And wait until the announcement. The confidence in our economy is going to come back stronger, because the world is no longer interested in investing in Ghana because of those debt restructuring. After tomorrow, it will be a different story. Watch the cedi to the dollar after tomorrow. Watch the cedi to the dollar after tomorrow. I know you are interested in that story. Let's watch it and see. The confidence will come. The investors will return to Ghana. And the growth trajectory will even become clearer for all of us. So this election is an election for us to win. The NDC can no longer campaign on the economy. Our record is better than their record. On the size of the economy, we've done better than them. On per capita income, we've done better than them. On job creation, we've done better than them. On economic growth, we've done better than them. They say we went to IMF, but it's not easy to be under an IMF program. Because we've seen them before. When they were under IMF program, by 2016, they missed all the targets. So far, Ghana has become an example. We met all our prior conditions and the IMF praised us and disbursed $600 million. We did our first review. We passed all the tests. The IMF praised us, they disbursed $600 million. On 28th of this month, we are doing a second review, and I'm telling you that we are going to pass. We will pass. We will meet all the targets, and the IMF will disburse money. Cedi to dollar again, watch it. When the IMF disburses money on 29th of this month. So everything we have to do to reset our economy, we have done it. We are not going back. We are going to go forward. And so please, ladies and gentlemen, it started from President Kufuor, who identified the land. It took President Akufo-Addo to come and cultivate the land. It would take Dr. Bawumia to bring the food home so that we all eat and rejoice together.
Well, so much optimism and confidence in the voice of the Finance Minister, Dr. Mohamed Amin, yesterday when he met the Ghanaian community in London, Croydon, for that town hall meeting. But in reality, all the things that he's so optimistic about, are they feasible as we look forward to the IMF announcing this officially? Remember that this town hall meeting was held yesterday, but in the last few hours, there's been development on this matter. My colleague Kofi Ajay joins me in studio to help us break down the numbers and make sense of all that it contains. So first, Kofi, we understand that there's been some developments on our relationship with the Eurobond holders. First, walk us through that before we break down the optimism of the finance minister.
So what we have is what is termed the government of Ghana, the government and the Republic of Ghana, and representatives of the bondholders reach an agreement in principle. Mm-hmm. In financial terms, we call this the AIP, agreement in principle. Mm-hmm. So it's not final yet.
Not final.
It's an agreement in principle, just like it happens in the the football space, in the transfer market, when they say there's an agreement in principle, which means that there are final bits that have to be done. And they say that the terms of the Eurobond restructuring, the government of the Republic of Ghana and the representatives of the bondholders reach an agreement in principle on the terms of the Eurobond restructuring. Now, let me take you through the details. Right. What's seen for Ghana in terms of these agreements. So we understand that bondholders have been offered, they've been given two offers. One is called the disco option, and the other is called the par option. So
what does it mean?
Way that you choose,
disco and
you have to, suffer certain haircuts. If you choose a disco option,
the disco is like doing so.
I mean, but during in this restructure, if you choose a disco, it means that you are agreeing to a haircut of 37%. And also you are going to have your interest trimmed to 5%. Mm-hmm. We know that the bonds that we have usually are between 8 to 10% on the average.
Right.
But if you agree to the disco, it means that the principal you have will be reduced by 37%. Your interest will move from, let's say, 8% or 9% to 5% between 2024 and 2028. Then 2028 onwards, you start getting, instead of the 5% interest, you get a 6% interest. Okay. So that's for the disco. Now, those who will be opting for the, the par option, this is capped. It means that the maximum amount of funds that will be allowed to enter into this option is around $1.6 billion.
Okay.
With the par option, there's a point where you will not have haircuts, but there's also another part if you choose maybe the PDI or the what they call the down payment bonds, you are likely to suffer a haircut of 37%. And so investors have two options. And these are agreed, principles of how the debt should be restructured. So Ghana is selling this
to them,
new bonds for exchange. So we are now waiting for
them to tell us which one they will go for.
Exactly.
So regardless, you have to choose one of these.
One of these, whether the disco option or the power option. And in all, government is hoping, if we look at what is being written here, we are looking for some 4.4 billion in terms of the cash flow that we are looking for from these two options that we've given to our investors.
Money that otherwise would have gone into paying some loan.
Absolutely. I mean, if you do the math, you realize that Ghana has been paying between $2 to $3 billion on interest of
loan every year.
Absolutely. So it means that if this is made available, and just like Courage Buti said, this is not money that is sitting, that you are going to take.
It is money that you would have paid, but you are not paying, so you keep the money.
Exactly, exactly. So these are the two options available to the bondholders, whether you decide to go for the disco option, which you suffer a haircut of 37%, your interest will be reduced from, coupon rate will be reduced from some 8 to 9% to now 5%. Beyond 2028, you start enjoying 6%. If you go for the power option, know that there's a cap on the number of investors who can enter this. The amount is about 1.6 billion. So these are the two options available.
Is there any indication which one they are settling for?
I mean, that's why it's an agreement in principle.
Okay.
So we are now waiting. This is the exchange offer that we've given. Just like the way the domestic debt restructuring, the government gave an exchange.
Right.
And people had to subscribe. So we are waiting for the investors, those who bought the bonds, to subscribe for us to know where they will go and all of that. But in all of this, the government of Ghana, according to the finance minister, believe that at the end we should be saving about $8 billion dollars.
But again, the finance minister was quite clear that by the close of work today, we should get a statement. This is the statement he was referring to.
This is the statement from the steering committee, as we've picked from online sources. This is not from the finance ministry themselves. We are waiting for the finance ministry maybe to put such a statement on their website. But just like the way the agreement in principle with the bilateral guys was had somewhere in January 2024, it took us about 4 months or 5 months to get the actual agreement just about a month ago. That's the same way this might also take in terms of the part. This is the agreement in principle, but we are now waiting to see the part that the investors will choose. But the good news is that these are the terms that the investors feel that
they can work with.
Absolutely.
So we understand that the IMF will hold their meeting on the 28th of this month. And then it is to understand that by the time this meeting is on, and 28th is just, I think, this week. It is to understand by the time that this meeting is on, the Eurobond holders would have come to a decision as to which one they are subscribing to.
In fact, one thing that has really helped Ghana is how fast we were able to get the agreement with the bilateral guys. Because if you look at the steering committee, there were the bilateral guys who were there, the Eurobond guys who were there, and IMF itself plus government of Ghana were also there to do the deliberation. So some form of, comparability of treatment, and everybody agrees that this is how the deal should go. So once we were able to reach the agreement with the bilateral creditors, it served as an opportunity or a platform for us to start fresh negotiations with the Eurobond guys. Remember that the first option that we reached with them was actually not agreed by the IMF. According to them, this could not meet the program parameters. So Ghana had to go back to the negotiation table to talk to the bondholders. Now that we have both the bilateral creditor agreement and the agreement in principle for the commercial creditors, this is good news for Ghana, and the finance ministry or the Ghanaian authorities believe that come July 28, 2024, they will have the second review passed, and a third disbursement of $360 million will be sent into the Bank of Ghana.
And again, the finance minister was quite clear that in few days to come, we're going to see stability in the forest. Perhaps the cedi is going to appreciate more against the US dollar, and then goes on to say that things are generally going to get better. And what may be informing this optimism?
I mean, there are domestic factors that can cause the city to stabilize. We understand that when there are injections like the IMF injection, immediately the IMF decides to agree to disburse, there will be other additional funding sources from the World Bank and other development partners. That's good news for Ghana. And then also the fact that these will give us a good outlook on the international capital market. We are hoping to go back. We do not know when we'll go back yet. But some form of goodwill and some fresh news around the Ghanaian economy, and everybody will know that the Ghanaian economy is on the path of recovery. That's good news for us. But generally, the stability of the city does not depend so much on
this
what
one
we do here domestically. It's about what is happening in the U.S. economy.
But perhaps you also, I mean, if the city is able to appreciate against the US dollar, it will have effects on what happens at the pumps.
I mean, yes. I mean, the pumps.
Yes, then the pumps is mostly determined by forex and world market prices. So if the dollar, if the city is stronger, it means that we might be paying less for petroleum products.
There are even projections that the price per barrel of crude can hit as low as $60 next year.
In fact, today it's come down.
It's come down. That's good news for us, because we will not be spending majority of our forex inflows to do some of these importations. I mean, less cities for possibly more dollars. That's what's going to happen. But the most important thing is that these new agreements with the external bondholders will bring some form of goodwill around the Ghanaian economy. And that sort of, positive sentiment can create what they call the speculative, positive speculation. And that's good news for the Ghanaian economy.
But before you go, so clearly with this Eurobond almost out of the way, means that everything that the conditions that the IMF set for us, we've virtually met all of them.
Yes, I mean, we are looking to raise about $10.5 billion from all the restructuring we are doing at the external level. Now the finance minister is telling us that we are saving about $8 billion from the commercial and about $2 billion from the bilateral.
Right.
But the most important thing is that although we'll be meeting all the IMF conditionalities, we should also make sure that, we are creating platforms, and then also the projections are right, so that when the time is right for us to pay back
the money, because we are only postponing the payment of our debts.
Yes.
It will eventually come back one day.
Yes. So on the bilateral side, more often, postponement. But on the external commercial side, we have some sort of cutaways, write-offs, reliefs, where some are as high as 37%. So that's generally good news for the Ghanaian economy, where we believe that about 5.4 billion official creditor debt that was subject to restructuring, we've been able to do 5.1 billion according to the finance minister, 13.1 billion of the Eurobond bonds, savings of about $8 billion, also according to the finance minister. Let's look at the final one, and just like he said, these are the debts that we earmark for restructuring, what we are doing so far. And let's look at the savings. So if you combine the savings at both the commercial and then the official level, we are talking about $10 billion of savings, according to the finance minister. And that's very positive news for the Ghanaian economy.
All right. Kofi, thank you so much. Let me bring in Professor John Gachi. He's an economist, as we break down the joy that we witness in the voice of the finance minister. Professor Gachi, you're welcome to the Pulse here on Joy News.
Thank you.
So the finance minister sounds so confident, so optimistic about the future of the Ghanaian economy, because our negotiations with the Eurobond holders is almost out of the way. He's hoping that we will save $8 billion out of it, and sing praise to the Ghanaian economy, how far it has come, to the extent that the dollar or the city will, in a few days to come, will appreciate against the dollar. Clearly, better days are ahead. Will you say is that the way you see it, Prof?
Well, I do not see it that way, because what we have achieved virtually is to say that we are supposed to pay this amount, but we are not going to pay it. But we have restructured the debt. The debt will start running from a certain period, on the back of the fact that we are not able to mobilize critical resources for the domestic economy to thrive. This is not about galvanizing production. This is not about galvanizing the real sector of the economy. It's just a respite that is given to us to maybe make our books look a little bit better. That does not take away the fact that we are going to resume repayment of the debt. So I do not see the fanfare surrounding this kind of development. Of course, it is the government that has brought us to this level. It's the government that has negotiated this deal to cushion itself, and for that matter, the Ghanaian economy. I do not think that there is anything so significant to celebrate about this. I think the finance minister is too much carried with the news about the agreement.
But I mean, the statement that came from the Eurobond.
And again, if you say you have saved 8 billion,
yes,
where have you saved it? How would that come by? Where will you get the money to put into the escrow account? We do not have the money. That's why we defaulted in the first place. That's why we have not been paying the debt for over 2 years. So now that you have signed agreement and you are telling the Ghanaian that you are saving close to 10 billion, the question is, where do you get the money to put into the escrow account? So these are the critical issues that we need to raise, especially where do we get the money to put into the escrow account? What will be the suffering of other sectors? Are we going to now look at the creation of the escrow account as a project by which we should prioritize that every money we have we put into it where other sectors will be suffering? The finance minister attempted to say that we are going to use these savings to provide critical infrastructure for the country, critical assets for the country. The question is that the money is not anywhere. So why do you tell us that you are going to create, critical assets, strategic assets from this money? So it's an elusive statement.
No, but Prof, if we are holding on to monies we would have paid as interest on some of these loans, then clearly that money becomes savings for the country. Is simplifying it? Is that not what it is?
I understand that, but the point is that you were not able to pay. That is why you declare default. It's not as though you are keeping the money somewhere, and then now that you sign an agreement, then you offload it into some account. The money is just not there. So we shouldn't create the impression that there is some money that we have saved and is somewhere we are going to use to do critical infrastructure.
But to what extent does this strengthen the cedi, for example, against the major trading currencies? Because one of the optimism of the finance minister is that in the coming days, we will see the cedi strength grow stronger against the US dollar, for example. That may even see price of petroleum products come down.
Unless we do not appreciate the understanding of the Ghanaian economy, we are definitely going to see some momentary respite for the cedi. But the cedi will resume its own course. The situation will come down to demand and supply, and that will be the situation as we go along. This agreement will not change course of the performance of the cedi. The performance of the cedi will resume its course after getting some momentary respite from this development.
And then the other matter of how much of confidence does this give investors to invest in the Ghanaian economy? The finance minister says that this clearly will open the door for a lot more people to come. He's even looking at going back to the Eurobond market.
That clearly shows misunderstanding of what we are doing. You cannot receive a sort of debt forgiveness, then immediately you are going to the debt market. It doesn't happen that way. So we will need to, show commitment to building an escrow account. We need to show commitment to the resumption of the repayment of the debt. It is after that we will see the confidence that we are expecting around the Ghanaian economy. But this agreement will not bring that level of confidence. We did domestic debt exchange, it didn't bring that confidence. We are now doing external debt exchange. It will not bring that confidence. We have things that we need to do. If we are able to do those things, we are able to build an escrow account over a certain period of time. If the time for the resumption of repayment comes and then we are on course, that is what is going to send signal of confidence to the international debt market. So if somebody is saying that by this agreement, confidence will resume, CD will perform extraordinary, that is just a momentary happiness that is being expressed. And of course, we are going into election, so the finance minister sees it as something that has happened to boost the confidence of the managers of the economy. But the reality is always there, so we should just tread cautiously.
Are you saying that there's nothing to be cheerful about here?
No, I think I expressed that earlier on. If you are able to negotiate to get some kind of sacrifice of almost 10 billion, that will not be on your book. That is something that you should be happy about. But you shouldn't extend it to mean that the CD will be so strong. You shouldn't extend it to mean that you are going to, very soon you'll be going to Eurobond market. It doesn't work like that.
But Prof, you brought in the issue of the 2024 election that is just around the corner. The government sees this as an achievement that they should sell it to the electorates. Now, I mean, basically what this means is that we are only postponing the payment of our debt. To what extent should we tread cautiously in managing this? Because I've heard comments from government officials, including the finance minister, that stored projects will now see some life in them. Contractors will be back on site. Projects that were abandoned because of some of these agreements, we're going to see them, back on track, and then delivery dates, announced here and all that. We've got some years ahead of us to pay back the loan that we are postponing today. How cautious should we tread in the management of our economy so that today's joy doesn't become, tomorrow's morning?
Well, that's what I explained already. How do you sign an agreement to resume debt repayment after maybe a year or two? That amount of money in your pocket for which you are going to do projects. How does it happen like that? So you see that when you go into it critically, we are not being told the reality. Of course, it's a cartel effect. There are people who appreciate this thing. They don't care about what the finance minister says. There are people who clearly may not appreciate some of these things. They'll be happy, especially those on the political side of the finance minister who do not appreciate this. They will think that he has said something very concrete. And then there are people who just will not want to hear that. So it's a cartel effect. Definitely he will get some people clapping for him and believing that something extraordinary will happen. But in reality, that is not it.
Let me ask a final domestic question so I can let you go. The finance minister also announced that the president has ordered the release of some 1.5 billion Ghana cedis to pay those who suffered during the banking sector cleanup. He was quick to add that government is not responsible for their investment decisions, but government, being a caring government, has decided to pay, to give them some cushion, 1.5 billion cedis out of the 4 billion cedis. I mean, is this the way to go?
I think we are grateful to God that finally, because of the election coming, government has heard the cry of these people. But I do not think that will do anything significant because the government has paid turned deaf ear to these people over the years. Mm-hmm. And then because of the election, the government is claiming it's going to pay them. That is good, but I do not think that will yield any political dividend to the government.
All right. Professor John Gachi is of the University of Cape Coast. Thank you so much for your insight into this particular matter. And it's a matter that is, developing. The IMF board will sit on the 28th of this month to look at this and then possibly sign of Ghana on this matter, and then that may lead to the release of the tranche. But let me take you to the Northern Regional Capital, Tamale, because the court has granted an injunction restraining Dr. Mahamatia Kabiru from holding himself as a candidate-elect of the MPP for the Wale Wale constituency. Correspondent Eliasu Tanko joins us with more on this development. Now, Eliasu, bring us up to speed on this matter.
Well, we know that in January there was a parliamentary primary that was held in Wale Wale and some parts of the northeast region. And in that particular election, according to the electoral commission of that particular area, Dr. Tia Mahama Kabiru won that particular election. He stood against the incumbent member of parliament, Hajia Laribazuira to Abudu, and two others. At the end of the election, he was able to pull about 345, and the member of parliament, or the incumbent member of parliament, pulled about 338. Immediately after this particular election, the incumbent MP rejected the election results and filed a case at the Tamale High Court. As we speak today, the case has suffered a 10th fulfillment. However, the court has granted an injunction restraining KB Mahama, or Tia Kabiru Mahama, from holding himself as the member of parliament elect for the Wale Wale constituency. What we are learning is that the member of parliament, or the sitting or incumbent member of parliament, is alleging irregularities and malpractice in the election. And so essentially she's calling for auditing of the ballot, as well as the electoral, the register that was used for the conduct of this particular election. And so today's decision is a landmark decision, because already there's an infighting or growing infighting in the Wale Wale constituency. The supporters are asking the presidential candidate, who is also the vice president and coming from this particular constituency, to resolve this particular matter. But ostensibly, this particular case, the vice president has not been able to effectively intervene in this particular matter. So today, essentially what it means is that Dr. KB Mahama cannot hold himself as the parliamentary elect for the Wale Wale constituency. So
Eliasu, did the court order a rerun of the parliamentary primaries in Wale Wale?
Not yet. The court have not ordered a rerun. Like I said, what we understand is that the incumbent MP is asking for the entire auditing of the ballot that was cast in this particular election, as well as the election register. This is what we the incumbent MP is demanding. But meanwhile, she asks that the court should restrain Dr. KB from holding himself as the parliamentary candidate elect for the Wale Wale constituency, and that's exactly what the court has done today.
Right. So were the litigants in court today?
The lawyer for the parliamentary candidate elect, Dr. KB Samson Ladi Anyanyini, was in court, as well as the lawyer for the incumbent member of parliament, or if you like, the defeated member of parliament, was also in court, as well as the lawyer for the MPP, the New Patriotic Party, as well as the lawyer for the Electoral Commission. MPP, KB is actually the first defendant, the Electoral Commission is the second defendant, and the MPP is also the third defendant in this particular case.
So help me understand. So now the court is ordering the Electoral Commission to count the ballot again?
For now, it hasn't gotten to that, but essentially that is what the incumbent MP is asking for. The case is still in process. Today, the decision is that KB cannot hold himself as the, parliamentary candidate elect for that.
Yes.
So for now, if you hold on until the time that the decision will be taken by this particular court.
And the court did not provide a roadmap to resolve this matter, knowing very well that time is of the essence.
Well, there have been a lot of confusion in that particular constituency. Only a few days ago, there was a press conference that was held by the youth who are heavily in support of the parliamentary candidate-elect, and they are now asking the National Executive Council to intervene in this particular matter. Essentially, or apparently to them, the Vice President, who is the presidential candidate of the MPP, has failed to resolve this particular issue. In his own backyard, we had the party regional council of elders chairman coming out to blame the vice president for the confusion in the Wale Wale constituency. So now the youth or the supporters feel that the vice president has failed to resolve this particular matter, so they are calling for the intervention of the National Executive Council. As we speak, there's a strong division among the supporters of these two particular candidates. There's also a division among the executives because we have some of the executives supporting Tia Kabiru and other executives also supporting the incumbent MP. So there's totally chaos in the Wale Wale constituency as we speak. And from what we are seeing, the incumbent MP is not ready to back down on his particular decision to pursue this matter in court. And so there seems to be no end in sight to this particular dispute from what we are seeing coming out in the Wale Wale constituency.
And Eliasu, the reason why the vice president name has come out strongly is because this is his hometown.
Of course, and again, there's an allegation that because the incumbent member of parliament is a sister, it is very difficult for the vice president to intervene. Mind you, the parliamentary candidate-elect is also his technical advisor. Tia Kabiru has been the technical advisor of the vice president for close to 8 years now. So it looks like it's very difficult. Vice President has found himself in a very difficult position, for which reason he has not been able to effectively resolve this particular issue as the supporters wish.
All right, thank you very much, Eliasu Tenko, and we will prove further to understand the roadmap provided by the court to resolve this matter. Now that the court has directed that Dr. Mahama cannot hold himself as a parliamentary candidate for the Wale Wale constituency, so the ticket of the MPP. We'll have more for you in subsequent bulletins. But for now, get ready to witness the ultimate celebration of Ghanaian football. It's the 6th annual Ghana Football Awards. Experience an evening of unrivaled glamour and high-octane excitement at the Ghana Arena as we recognize and honor the best and brightest football stars in Ghana and Africa. Be prepared to reveal in an unforgettable night of entertainment and dazzling moment that will leave you breathless. Let's celebrate our stars on the 29th of June this weekend. A night that promises to be nothing short of extraordinary. Ghana Football Award is Football Impact Africa initiative powered by Activate 360 and proudly supported by the multimedia group A&E Mediacom, partners in Govu Mining, sponsors Safari Valley and Big Lake Sports and Game Lounge. Ghana Football Awards celebrating the stars of our passion. We'll take a short break. When we return, we've got a conversation on Petroleum Hub. We've got the Attorney General speaking for the first time about the ambulance trial in court and how his conversation, what this has done to his family. We have all that and more coming your way right here on the Pulse. Stay right there. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Pulse here on Joy News with me, Elton Brobe. Now we brought you that breaking story where a Tamale High Court has granted an injunction restraining Dr. Mahama Tia Kabiru from holding himself as a candidate-elect of the MPP for the Wale Wale constituency. Dr. Kabiru joins me on the phone for a reaction. Dr. Kabiru, good afternoon. Welcome to the Pulse. Your reaction to this court decision?
For having me. I just want to say that Ghana is ruled by rule of law, and we have the constitution guiding the moderation of the country or how this country is governed. The High Court has spoken based on the facts as presented to them by the plaintiff. We've also submitted our defense as the first defendant in this matter. My lawyer argued forcefully that the grant of such a relief interlocutory injunction will disadvantage me and will cause irreparable damage to my cause, as it were, in trying to represent the New Patriotic Party in the upcoming parliamentary primaries. The judge, in his wisdom, felt like the status quo needed to be maintained, and he didn't want to alter that. He gave his reason to the effect that he doesn't want the plaintiff to be prejudiced in the event that the status quo, as it were, prima facie, I'm the candidate-elect, or I'm the parliamentary candidate-elect, but he doesn't want to disturb the status quo in the unlikely event or in the event the plaintiff has a case. So he was maintaining the status quo. So we are still reviewing the judgment. We've asked for a copy of the judgment. We would look at it, we will look at the reasoning in extenso, and then we can advise ourselves thereof.
So how does this affect your parliamentary ambition?
Yeah, I think for me, the judgment coming in place is a validation of a judgment that has already taken place, because the Member of Parliament filed this current motion. It first came as a motion ex parte, restraining me, restraining the New Patriotic Party, restraining the Electoral Commission from doing anything in connection with my candidature. Then we thought we were going to have out-of-court settlement. We laid back. We never wanted to take up the legal battle. We were involved in negotiation. This process tarried. In other words, we could not have a resolution after almost 6 months of engagement. Now we are back to court. The court has passed the judgment. For the past 6 months, my colleagues, elected parliamentary candidates, were campaigning. I couldn't do any of such because it would be in contempt of court if I were to disregard the pending motion and then proceed there to be campaigning. But now that the validation of that particular motion has now come in the form of this judgment, is affected. The New Patriotic Party is the loser in this case. I am the primary loser. The New Patriotic Party is the primary loser, and all those associated with the New Patriotic Party, and more especially the people of Wale Wale who so much desire to have our representation.
My final question will be, did the court provide a roadmap to resolve this impasse so that the party can have a candidate in the forthcoming election? Yeah,
the court, just like any, court of judicature, they give a roadmap. Case management is going to be on Monday. Thereafter, the case will start in earnest Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, where we will have, if you like, an expedited trial. Then the ruling is going to be passed. Once the ruling comes on in the course of the week, or if there are witnesses we need to call, the case will travel in the next 1 week. We are hopeful that the issues that will be set after the case management will be dealt with expeditiously.
So until the resolution of this matter, Wale Wale has no parliamentary candidate on the ticket of the MPP?
That is true, based on the court ruling.
All right. Dr. Tia Abdul Kabir Mohammed, thank you so much for your time. And we'll follow this case to its logical conclusion. Well, Alan Kwadwo Shemantem, the founder of Movement for Ghana, is outlining the great transformational plan. He's fleshing it. Let's take a listen.
With some of few policy solutions from the other clusters. So let me start with the economic cluster. The economic cluster consists of 4 pillars, namely the macro economy, industrial transformation, a new agricultural revolution, and tourism. The macroeconomic pillar starts with our policies on expenditure management and control. And I propose the following policy solutions. 1, reduce the current size of government and run a lean executive administration consisting of not more than 40 ministers. Eliminate sole sourcing in public procurement and contracting. to ensure value for money, which has over the years been a major source of the bloating of government expenditure. 3, consolidate into a single administrative unit all existing government departments, agencies, and other public sector organizations which have overlapping mandates. The Ministry of Energy, for example, has 14 different agencies under it. Reinforce existing mechanisms in payroll and employee compensation management and administration, which is designed to eliminate ghost names from the public sector. It's only in Ghana that ghosts continue to appear and reappear. Reduce government financing of infrastructure projects by at least 60%. Reduce government spending and financing on infrastructure projects by at least 60%. And in place, introduce innovative private sector financing of infrastructure using models such as build, operate, and transfer, BOT, build, own, and operate, BOO, EPC with financing, EPC with suppliers' credits. Undertake a comprehensive review of the entire structure of government spending and public expenditure with a view to reducing the national public expenditure ratio to gross domestic product. That is the ratio of public expenditure to GDP to a target not exceeding 10% over a period of 5 years. On revenue optimization, undertake a complete reform of the tax structure in Ghana with a view to optimizing revenue from the mobilization of direct taxes rather than indirect taxes through the import duties, taxes, and levies, particularly at the ports. And this is what prevails in many of the matured economies. They focus more on direct taxes than indirect taxes. And we are going to change that system in Ghana. 3, enforce existing regulations linking access to essential public services to the payment of taxes. If you don't pay your tax, you will not have access to essential government services. 4, conduct a comprehensive financial and technical audit of port operations to identify and block revenue leakages at the ports, including but not limited to mechanisms to address trade misinvoicing and transfer pricing. Enhance the collection of rent tax, property tax, capital gains tax, investment income tax, and sin taxes. Review existing rates for road tolls and expand the application across various road networks. Establish a free port enclave at the Tema port to enhance vessel traffic and transshipment in Ghana, which will bring in additional revenue from port services. Conduct an extensive review of the operations of SOEs, state-owned enterprises, with a view to enhancing their contribution to government revenue. Enhance the application of technology, including artificial intelligence and blockchain technology, in revenue mobilization, and equip revenue collection agencies with relevant tools and facilities. And last but not the least, conduct a comprehensive review of the management and administration of the Ghana Revenue Authority with a view to enhancing the efficiency and effectiveness in tax administration and revenue mobilization. The above policy measures are designed to increase the ratio of tax revenue to GDP from the current 14% to 20% over a period of 5 years. On lower taxes and duties, first, eliminate the existing compounded calculation of VAT and consolidate the NHIA and GET fund levies with a VAT rate. 2, abolish the special import levy of 2%. 3, abolish the COVID-19 health recovery levy. 4, abolish the Ghana Health Service disinfection fee. How can we be collecting COVID fee and disinfection fee in 2024? Abolish all taxes and other charges on the importation of spare parts within a period of 2 years after the establishment of the government of national unity. Undertake a comprehensive assessment of the relevance of all taxes, administrative charges, and levies that have been imposed at the ports with a view to eliminating all nuisance taxes and thereby reducing the tax burden on importers. The above policy prescriptions will make Ghana have the lowest tax rate regime in the whole of ECOWAS sub-region within a period of 3 years. On a stable currency, on this issue of stable currency, review the operations of foreign exchange bureaus with a view to eliminating speculative and unauthorized trading of forex. Enforce existing regulations on the repatriation of foreign exchange proceeds from exports. I'm sure you realize that there are regulations for the repatriation of proceeds from exports, and yet nobody respects the regulations. Review and strengthen existing legislation to limit the use of foreign currency in domestic commercial transactions, particularly in the services sector. Everybody wants to charge dollars. And meanwhile, that is not your currency. And if you are charging dollars for every activity, how do you hope to stabilize your currency? There are countries, even in Africa, where not under any circumstances will they accept dollars or any other foreign currency to pay for services. Increase the supply of foreign exchange in the economy by actively promoting exports and also reducing imports through import substitution by providing incentives to the private sector. How many times have you heard a Ghanaian head of state talk about exports? But alas, if you want to stabilize your currency, that is the only solution. Because it is only when you have a consistent and substantial flow of foreign currency that is chasing the dollar that you can stabilize your local currency. These policy prescriptions will lead to a significant reduction in the depreciation of the cedi, and stabilize our cedi, our local currency, within a period maximum of 1 year. On low inflation, fix the foreign exchange rate for the importation of strategic commodities such as petroleum and essential medicines below the prevailing foreign exchange market rate as a second forex window as a short-term policy measure in order to reduce the pass-through effects of the depreciation of the local currency on strategic commodity prices. As a country, we have no choice but to import petroleum products until we start adding value to our oil and gas resources. If your cedi is depreciating and you allow the exchange rate, the depreciating rate, to influence the price of petroleum products, then obviously the prices of all goods, because of the multiplier effect of petroleum, would always be on the rise. So you have to ring fence the depreciation of the cedi in respect of products that are of a strategic nature, and you have no choice to import them. If we do this, we'll stabilize the currency. Establish a fixed exchange rate for a period not exceeding 6 months for the calculation of import duties in local currency as a short-term policy measure to reduce the high level of imported inflation. If you import a bag of rice and it lands in Tema, the duty that you pay is calculated in local currency but based on the prevailing market rate. So at the time you are importing your 1 bag of rice, if the dollar was 13 cedis to $1, within the next 3 months, when the bag of rice arrives and the dollar is now exchanged for 16 cedis to $1, the importer is not a saint. It means that he now has to pay more in local currency because of the depreciating exchange rate. And they have no choice but to pass this on. So unless you provide stability within a short period of time for those who are importing goods, then the rate of exchange, the depreciating cedi, would always continue to affect prices in our economy. And with an economy that is highly dependent on imports, as your currency depreciates, the prices of goods will continue to rise. I hope I'm making sense. The two go together. This is not magic.
So that's the founder of the Movement for Ghana, Alan Kojo Chemanten, giving more flesh to his great transformational plan. And we have more for you in subsequent bulletins. But now let's come back to the studio and deal with a very important matter as well. Now, the government of Ghana has signed a $12 billion agreement with China TCP UIC Consortium for the first phase of the Petroleum Hub Development Project in the Jomoro municipality of the Western region. The project is expected to create 780,000 direct and indirect jobs and revolutionize the downstream petroleum sector in Ghana and across Africa. This agreement made between Ghana and Petroleum Hub Development Corporation, PHDC, and China TCP Consortium is part of a broader $60 billion investment by the Ghanaian government to transform the energy sector. There is more in this report.
Divided into 3 phases, the first phase, costing $12 million and spanning the next 4 years, will include constructing a state-of-the-art refinery with a capacity of 300,000 barrels per day, a petrochemical plant, a 3 million cubic meters of storage tanks, and the development of a jetty and port infrastructure. The signing ceremony included key sector stakeholders and traditional leaders from Nzemaland. Chief Executive Officer of the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation, Charles Owusu, stated that the project, when fully operational, will enhance energy security by complementing the existing refineries in Ghana and across the continent.
When this project is operating at full capacity, it will rather complement and not compete with fully functional Tema Oil and Senti Oil refineries, Dangote's refinery, and all other refineries dotted across African continent to help meet our energy needs. Additionally, it is to help Ghana sustainably explore her numerous hydrocarbon deposits for jobs, energy, revenue, and further integration with the global economy and development without turning a blind eye on the ongoing global energy transition efforts and climate change.
The Minister of State Enterprises, Joseph Kujo, explained the funding mechanisms of the project.
It is a Ghana government securing land, 20,000 acres land space in the Jomoro district, and that has been done. And a Ghana government establishing a functioning institution like the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation, that has been done and staffed. And a Ghana government and PADC signing lease agreements. You know, PADC, the land is vested in the PADC. So signs lease agreement with investors who come in and establish the components, the refineries, the petrochemical plants, the storage tanks, the pipelines, and everything. So the first leasing agreement is what we witnessed. So it is like you have an anchor tenant who you have signed an agreement with to come and develop. Once they hit the ground and start development, the other investors will come in with their money.
The Minister of Energy, Matthew Opoku Prempeh, tasked environmental regulation agencies to ensure strict adherence to protocols, ensuring local communities benefit fully from the project.
We have to find a way of making sure our natural resources God has given us, we don't let it go to waste. And at the same time, not to degrade the environment as we are doing that. So and the Petroleum Commission has been leading the charge to make sure health and safety issues and environmental issues in the oil and gas industry is dealt with. The MPA, Petroleum Commission, and the Ghana Standards Authority have also taken care of one thing that I'm going to talk about, and that is physical measuring or physical measurement. You know, you can take as much oil as you have, but if you can't count 1, 2, 3, how much you have taken out, maybe the people of Jomoro will not get the development that the people of Obuasi never got because they took so much gold and we couldn't count our resources. We have to be able to count our resources.
On his part, President of the Western Regional House of Chiefs, Awulai Angamatu Ejan II, assured their support for the transformative project.
And I want to assure you that as the paramount chief of Jomoro district, anything that I and my chiefs and people, you see a lot of them who accompanied me, we give you our assurance that we will help you to let the project take off.
Covering over 20,000 acres in the Jomoro municipal area of the Western region, the privately led petroleum hub will secure investment and develop key auxiliary infrastructure. This project is expected to create numerous jobs and aims to increase Ghana's GDP by 70% by 2036. For Joy News, Carlos Galoni, Accra.
Right, so the question, what impact will this project have on Ghana's downstream petroleum sector? How would it be funded? And what are the timelines? And who are the key players? Joining us live in the studio to provide answers is the Chief Executive Officer of the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation, Mr. Charles. So, Charles, you're welcome. Good to see you here. And if I'm not mistaken, this will obviously be one of the biggest investments in the petroleum sector.
Yes, very, very.
So tell us about this project.
So this project, Petroleum Hub, is one of the vision of the president when he assumed office in 2017. There are numerous of policies that are undertaken by this government. Then one of the policies given to the Ministry of Energy was that to make Ghana, the petroleum hub, the Rotterdam of Africa.
Right.
Yes. So since 2017, the then Minister, Honorable Boache Jako, put up a task force to be able to research into this whole making Ghana the Rotterdam of Africa, whether it is possible or it's just a mere statement. So upon their study, and the final conclusion was that there should be a body or agency that will spearhead those whole petroleum hub agenda. Okay. And that's what the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation was set up to drive this whole infrastructure. So if you look at the master plan, it's called Petroleum Infrastructure Master Plan. So to be able to establish the downstream industry, as you rightly put it. So if you look at the structure in the petroleum industry, we have the upstream, we have the midstream, and we have the downstream.
Right.
But for regulatory purposes in Ghana, we have the up and the downstream. So the up is regulated by Petroleum Commission, and the down is regulated by National Petroleum Authority. And so the minister's idea is that the next decade, the attention should be on the downstream to be able to give us this key infrastructure, and the focus is for export. So that's the value addition, and to be able to export all this petroleum product into our neighboring countries. Yes.
So clearly this aligns with government objective of making Ghana the petroleum hub in Africa, if you like.
Yes.
This probably give meaning to that pronouncement.
Yes, because there's no hub in Africa. This is going to be the first of its kind. That's why on the 18th of June, last Tuesday, we made mention that, and it coincides with the first discovery in commercial quantity and in 2007. So it's the first of its kind. So it's a major investment going to be in Africa.
And you chose Jomoro, why?
Okay, so there were 3 places, according to the master plan that we came to witness or read. So there was first the South Pond area, Atuabu area, and the Jomoro. Why Jomoro was selected was, one, the depth of their sea, because that's very critical. If you want to do this massive infrastructure or major trading in Africa, then the first critical point is the depth of your sea, because we are going to receive large vessels, or what we call the VLCCs and the ULCCs, the ultra-large crude carriers and all of that. So that was one. And the 2 was the flatness of the area and the less populated in terms of resettlement. So in terms of cost and in terms of the trading, in terms of the depth of the sea, then that gave the choice of Jomoro municipal area. And that study was done by Ghana Maritime Authority.
So it was not just by accident, but
no.
Some studies went into all these 3 areas, and you came to a conclusion that Jomoro fits what you needed to do.
Exactly, yes.
So, and yet you are taking 20,000 acres of their land. I don't know much about Jomoro, but from a layman point of view, then you're virtually taking the whole of Jomoro.
Yes, so you know, the language of the game is evidence. So we had a discussion with the Spatial Planning Authority at the municipal. The entire Jomoro enclave covers around 543,000 acres.
Oh, that's then 20,000.
So it's about 6%.
6% of the entire land.
And as you rightly said, everything about this project is carefully done.
Okay.
Because it's interrelated interdependencies, and I will explain. The 20,000 acre land was well thought through, because if you look currently in Malaysia is doing about 22,000 acres of the same
project.
The same project, close to Singapore. Singapore is on 8,000 acres, and you all know it's an island.
Meaning you are building something closer to Malaysia.
Yes.
Or the same.
Yes, of the same. And you see, we are looking at 3 refineries with a capacity of 300,000 barrels per stream. That's 900,000. We are looking at 5 petrochemical plants. We are looking at 10 million cubic meters in terms of storage tanks. Then we are looking at jetties. That is the key infrastructure. Then we have ancillary in terms of transportation, in terms of utilities. So we're looking at power plants to feed this entire enclave. We are looking at waste treatment, water treatment, state-of-the-art laboratory. We are looking at residential area. We are looking at commercial area. So adding all of that gives you the hub. Most of the time, people construe a refinery and a hub. And I always say that there are differences. It's like the mall and the grocery shop. Those in the city will attest to that. And with those coming from the village, we call a Jakitium and a Jakesium. So that is the aspect. So this whole 20,000 were carefully measured in terms of land usage. So LUSPA, that's Land Use and Spatial Planning Authority, actually did the study. So I think I came with most of the reports here that has been done. So it's not even PhDs. That's I say most of these projects are interrelated, are interdependent. So if you go to this page 21, you can have a look at it. 21, gives you, no, I've not paid, 21.
Yes, I'll go there. Yeah, so 21 is settlement distribution in the SPA.
No, so 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you see that everything has been allocated. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah,
so it's
21
20,800 and
yes,
something.
the industrial.
So the industrial is looking
reserve,
at
open space,
11,000.
future development, residential, mixed use, commercial, civic and culture, transportation. Total is 20.86
exactly
acres.
Yes. So you see that there's nature reserve. It's taking about 3,000.
True.
Open space about 1,009. So about 5,500 alone from this 20,000 is not going to be used because you know the open space cannot be used for. So the core acre of land that is going to be used about 11,000 according to the data. And this is done by LUSPA. And you know LUSPA is a statutory body mandated for in terms of our spatial plan. So most of the things that we are doing is not coming from, let's say, Ministry of Energy or the PAGC or Petroleum Hub. It's been well thought through in terms of the size that will be needed for this key infrastructure.
And then the next question will be about compensation. I mean, you are taking 20,000 acres of land from the Jomoro community. How much have you budgeted to pay for this land?
Thank you. As I said, that one too is the job of Lands Commission. So we have the valuation department. So I have here the valuation that they did. Close to 1.2 billion Ghana cedis. As
for the 20,000 acres
yes,
of land
for compensation. And it's broken into three. So we have value on the land, which is crops. We have the land itself. Then we have resettlement. So, and other administrative charges and all of that gives you. So this is not we sitting and say, Alton, you are a nice gentleman, I'll give you $20 per acre. Or no, it's been done by a statutory body mandated to be doing this. So everything that PAGC is doing is aligned with statutory institutions meant to do what they know best. We are more like landlords, and we understand the petroleum industry, and that's what we intend doing in terms of to promote and bring in investors or to attract investors and then market the place for people to come and pick up products.
So you haven't paid yet?
No.
You haven't paid yet. And I see legal fees and art prof, 183 million?
No. So that's what I'm saying. Those are administrative charges as part of, and this is coming from, you saw it, this is coming from Lands Commission. They have a way of computing this compensation.
So Ms. Osu, what is the relationship between government of Ghana and this Chinese company as far as this project is concerned?
Great. So this whole project, $60 billion US, it's not coming from the central government. Right. The funding is not coming from the central government. This is a bold, innovative, and a collaborative concept. As I said, an export-driven concept. This is coming from the private sector. So the phase one that we've signed, and let me explain. So we have phase one, we have phase two, and we have phase three. It's the list of it we've signed. Phase one is 12 billion. Phase two is 27 billion US, and phase three is 21 billion, giving you the
$60 billion.
Exactly. So now, with this 12 billion, it's coming from the private sector, which is the consortium. So you see, there is not even a firm. These are two strong Chinese SOEs. They are in the what we call the Chinese government road and road belt. So Chinese Road Belt Initiative, the BRI. And it's not easy. It's not every company in China that will be selected into this. We have two of them. Even the EPC, the lead EPC, which is HQC, a subsidiary of CNPC, that's China National Petroleum Corporation, is also part of this whole BRI.
All right.
And they are going to fund this project.
This project.
That is the concept of this 12 billion.
So therefore, there's obviously a share arrangement between government of Ghana and this consortium. What is the share arrangement?
No. So as I said, the government of Ghana is...
It's not paying any money into it.
No. True. You see, this...
But government is providing some equity.
No. So that's say this project is unique. It's self-financing, and I'm going to explain why. So the government of Ghana through PADC is a landlord, or what we call the park manager. Our duty is to attract these investors, and that's what government has gone in to secure this land. You heard the chief Awulai Anoeje talking about it, to make life easy, because without the land you can't do it.
So this government of Ghana contribution.
You've seen the cost for the compensation. Okay, so So there's no equity here. Even the service that we are going to provide to these investors, we are going to charge them more like a part of our IGF and all of that. So the only cost government has incurred now is setting up the corporation.
Okay.
And very soon, because we are going to have IGF, government will leave us to be on our own and all of that. So the whole focus of this project in terms of government is, one, to put Ghana on the global map, create jobs, and then government get taxes.
And almost 1 million jobs will be created.
780,000
yes,
jobs.
I mean, closer to 1 million.
Yes.
To 1 million.
And that one was done by LUSPA.
And this will be mostly Ghanaians.
Yes. So the beauty of this whole job creation is that we are developing what we call the data repository. It's going to be a system very transparent. We have the USSD, we have the app, and we have the web. So whether you are skilled, semi-skilled, or unskilled, you'll be able to come into it. And then from the request of the investor so the request from us to the investor is where we look at training and certification.
Right.
Training and certification. So now we are looking at TTU, KCAM, that we took TTU to Singapore to look at how this training, because they've been doing for upstream. They are now coming to the downstream in terms of training. So that is what we are going to do.
So let me put two questions together so that as we begin to wrap up. So when will this start? When is it expected to end? And what benefit will this hold for Ghana, and especially small and medium enterprises? Okay,
so each of these phases is looking at 5-year span. Mm-hmm. But with this phase 1 investor, they've given us 48 months. So they are using 4 years. Mm-hmm. So the next steps, if I have to say it, is in August, we are doing the ground break. In September, they will start the land clearing. They will come in. They've already done their feasibility, pre-feasibility, so they are going to firm up to make it feasibility complete. And then the feed will continue. So the front-end engineering design, and end of first quarter 2025, construction will begin. So that is the next steps of this phase 1.
And then for anybody watching, what the person is interested in, so what benefit does it hold for Ghana and for me as an individual?
The enormous of the benefits. So as I said, the ancillary side.
There are small businesses that are looking to benefit from this project taking off in Jomoro.
Yes. So if you're in Jomoro, so we have what we call the SME incubator. So where people are already doing their small trading, we are helping them to enhance. We are leading them to Maslock and GA to be able to get additional capital to expand, because phase 1 is looking at about 50,000 jobs.
Right.
And if you are cooking, you need to expand. And sometimes they might not have the initial capital, and this is where we come in to assist them. And also, like yourself, we did a trip, we call it Let's Go to Asia, where we took some of Ghanaians to Malaysia and Singapore to witness what has actually happened, so that when they come home, they'll be able to partake in this whole hub agenda. Before we go to Ghana, some of them has already gotten business with these Malaysians and Singapore, representing them as their Africa agents. So that is how the whole thing is going to work.
It is big, and I'm sure that in the days to follow, we'll have more discussion on this matter. Chief Executive Officer of the Petroleum Hub Development Corporation, Charles, thank you so much for coming. And I'm guessing that days to come, we'll dwell more on this particular matter, especially as it's so much potential for the Republic. This is the pause. We'll take a short break. When we'll come back, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Godfrey Dame, says the cross-examination of third accused in ambulance trial, Richard Japa, has exposed the lies and deception of the NDC. Stay for that. Welcome back to the pause. We're going to have a very nice conversation about impact makers in our society. But before we do that, the Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Godfrey Dame, says the cross-examination of the third accused in the ambulance trial, Richard Japa, has exposed the lies and deception of the opposition National Democratic Congress. The conduct of the Attorney General is in question following the release of a telephone conversation in which the AG is heard discussing the merits of the case with Richard Japa. The recorded conversation and WhatsApp chats have since been admitted into evidence. Addressing a town hall meeting with some Ghanaian residents in the United Kingdom, Godfrey Dame said the cross-examination has exposed the motive of the accused.
Also commend the government for the measures we've taken to empower women, the girl child and all. And I'll say that we should be proud of ourselves. After you answer that question, I'll just re-echo the points made by earlier speakers and say that, indeed, when it comes to, as far as I'm concerned, in every facet of national life, the MVP government has outperformed the NDC. Even speaking about my own ministry, when I assumed the mantle as Attorney General in 2021, the ministry had, the Legal Aid Commission, which is under my ministry, had only 4 vehicles. The last of which was acquired in 2006. There's another institution called Council for Law Reporting. They had only 2 vehicles, the last of which was acquired in 2008, and all of it within MVP time. In 2021, by the kind instruction of the President to the Finance Minister to assist me, 91 vehicles were acquired for the Ministry of Justice. Beyond that, the office has had 8 office accommodation challenges for God knows how long. Papa Wiswankuma, High Commissioner, was Attorney General from about 2003 to about 2004. Precisely, that's the year I was called to about 2003. And I visited him when I was SRC General Secretary. I visited Papa Wiswankuma in 2002 to pay homage to him. Not knowing in the future, I'll be assuming the same seat. So, in order to address the accumulation challenges, the MPP government, with all the foresight and vision that it had, led by Nana Akufo-Addo as Attorney General in 2001, commenced the construction of what we call the Law House, a new office accommodation for those Attorney General. Attorney General, after Nana Akufo-Addo contributed, Papa Wiswankuma came to contribute. Right after NDC assumed office in 2009, the project, as we can all imagine, was abandoned. We came back again. My boss, former boss, Gloria Kufu, also contributed and all that. By the time I assumed office at Attorney General, the building was 36% complete. Today, the building has been completed and commissioned last week. A building that was started by Akufo-Addo in 2001. It took the same Akufo-Addo again to come and complete it. So I'm saying that we should resist all the lies, deception, and deceit of the NDC. And indeed, that's their stock in trade. And I personally, I can attest to that. You can, yes, we've been around. We're in Ghana, and of course, we've been in UK. My brother who lives in London called me anxiously last time he entered a barber shop. He said, talking about the Attorney General. They didn't know that the Attorney General's brother was next in line for his hair to be cut. And all that. Oh, what's happening? This young gentleman that they admire and all that. But again, the lies, deception, and the deceit of the NDC was at work. And within a matter of 2 days, when we started our cross-examination of the person who was spreading all those lies, you see how the matter is going. The case has come, as the president will say, case now turns home. So indeed, we should resist the deception, lies, and NDC. They'll come with all kinds of presentation about every major action or step being taken by this government. And therefore, we should go on the. Thank you very much.
And that's Godfrey Debo-Adame, Attorney General Minister for Justice. He was speaking at a town hall meeting in London, Croydon, to be precise. Now, a year after being recognized at the maiden edition of the Joy News Impact Makers Awards, Richard Oko recounts that the award has shot him into a limelight he could never have attained on his own. One other awardee, Yusuf Ilyas Subaba, who was adjudged the Joy News Impact Maker in mental health care in the Upper West Region, says since the recognition, his foundation, that's the Bahas Foundation, has never lacked in providing support for the mentally ill in the region. Let's listen to them.
It's an honor to be selected and awarded, appreciating what you have done. That alone is a great honor. It's a feeling that in Ghana, at a particular point in time, in a very specific sector, you are the person that Joy News and others have chosen as the best so far within that particular sector. And I think it's a great honor. The exposure you get, I mean, how do I pay for that exposure? It's so huge. After the award, I applied for 3 grants on behalf of some of our farmer organizations. And I want to also read for them. So I have to select about 10 people from each association to the University College of Agriculture and Environmental Studies in the Eastern Region in Bunsu, for them to be trained as trainers to go into their communities to train the other farmers as well. Due to the exposure I had as a result of the award given by Joy News, they called me and asked me to come and train the workers because They use a lot of herbs and honey and other bee products in their formulations. Immediately after Impact Making Life, I have been known to the world through Dre News. Wherever I go, wherever I am, you could see people pointing fingers at me. Hey, this is the hero of Upper West. This is the hero of Ghana. So because of that, I'm most grateful. I see Dre News has impacted even my life into the others. But immediately after the Impact Making Life, a lot of people get to know Bahas and a lot of people get to know Eliasu. So because of that, whoever I walk to ask for something to support my project, they don't hesitate to give it to me. Especially when we embark on Bahas Mental Home Project and then rehabilitation center as is currently going on. A lot of people have donated 1 bag of cement, 2 bags, 3 bags, 4 bags. Through Grey News Impact Makers, they got to know me and then donated a lot to me. So we have started the project, and the project is currently going on in Upper West region. Seriously, it's a very good platform for you to advertise yourself. As I'm sitting now today, I'm a hero. Through Grey News, I can say Alhamdulillah.
So 10 nominees have been shortlisted for this year's awards this coming weekend, Saturday, 29 July 2024. The awards will be live on Joy News, Joy 99.7 FM, and all our social media platforms, including myjoyonline.com. Among them is Eunice Ejepon, a young graduate who was posted to the Eastern Region town of Nuka to teach in apparently non-existent school. Can you imagine? Despite her disappointment and the remote nature of the community, Eunice single-handedly began mobilizing children from their homes under a tree to teach them. With the support of the community and parents, Eunice and the team managed to raise a makeshift structure to provide shelter for the children to learn. As we speak, Eunice, together with the community, have managed to put up an open-air classroom block to serve as school for the peoples. This, according to her, nominators for the Joy News Impact Makers Award has greatly increased school enrollment in Noka. This and 9 more stories of selflessness, ingenuity, dedication, commitment, volunteerism, and passion to be a change agent are what Joy News seeks to celebrate at the Accra International Conference Center this weekend. And you certainly want to be part of the commendation and encouragement initiative with the hope of putting Ghana on the map and at par with its peers in development. Let's get more on this as we are joined by project lead Emefa Etiamo Eli for more. So Emefa, what is impact makers and who are impact makers?
Just as you rightly said, sharing the story of Eunice, that's a typical impact maker. These are ordinary people at the community level. They are not your everyday politicians. They are not your everyday news makers, but in their little corner, they are putting smiles on the faces of their community members.
So, I mean, 10 nominees.
Yes.
And then somebody would think that, why, are you still living in the 10 region structure? Or it had nothing to do with regional balance?
No, not at all. So we actually sought to get nominations from all the 16 regions. Did we? Yes, we did. But at the end of the day, we would have to sift whatever we gathered at the end of the day to be able to know who is the impact maker of the day. So yes, we got nominations from across the country, but these 10 finalists are the ones that the judges have settled on for us for recognition at the weekend.
So let's welcome our 10 nominees, and then before I walk us through the 10 nominees.
Yes, so when you check behind you, number 1 on the list, we have Samuel Nana Bekai Jirako. Samuel is in the Upper East region, and he's into health-related matters and also education. Anything having to do with children's education and health, he's in the community engaging people to make life better. Same applies to Eunice. We just shared her story. Eunice was posted to a community in the Eastern region and to a school to teach. Apparently, there wasn't...
No school.
There was no school. And so, out of her ingenuity, she's been able to mobilize the children in the community to teach them. As we speak, there is a school in the community. By virtue of her intervention, there is now a school in that community. So we are celebrating her for that effort. We also have Dr. Kwame Sakwa Edu. He is in the
rural development,
rural
livelihood empowerment.
Yes, he's in the central region, and we got nominations from Samba. We got nominations from Saltpond because apparently his project is not based in one community.
Okay.
He moves from community to community, region to region. So we got nominations from these areas that it should be celebrated for one way or the other, helping the locals getting something useful to do to be able to sustain their livelihood. And then we also have Gloria Ladi Adakurugu. Gloria is more into education. She's interested in the education of the young ones.
Just like Eunice.
Yes, just like Eunice. She says she didn't have a pleasant childhood when it comes to education, so she wants to change that narrative. So she would go from school to school, try to find out what are the needs of these children and help them to be able to go to school. Then we have Reverend Sister Justina Kwachi Osei. She's a Reverend Sister, as you can see, beyond the evangelism or the word of God. Yes, she's living what she's preaching. Of course. Yes, so everything regarding community welfare and also particularly in the girl child education, she'll make sure that they are in school. There is also Andrew Ejenim Boating. Andrew is from the Bono region. Precisely Sampa. No, it's rather Ahafo region. Okay. Precisely Sampa. And he is also into ICT and education. He finds himself in a community where he thinks that there is the need for the children to be able to match up to those in the city centers who have not had the exposure when it comes to ICT. Okay. So he's leading that campaign in that community. And then there's Rhoda Kadua Wedam. Rhoda is into the girl child education and empowerment. If you go to she's from the northern region, Tamale. A lot of girls, we know their story coming from that part of the town. They don't have it. So she's making sure that they are retained in the region. But whilst they are being retained, they are doing something useful to make their life better. Then we also have Nicholas. Nicholas is in the Greater Accra region. He's also into education. Then Dr. Afi Dia. He's also in Sampa. Yes, I hope I got that right. He's also in Sampa. He's a medical doctor. Beyond his profession, he does a lot of things on the side to make sure that the people are in good health. Then we have Joseph Maujom. Joseph Maujom is passionate about water hygiene and sanitation. So yes, he's an engineer when it comes to water provision. Beyond his professional lives, the later that comes, the interesting thing about these nominees is that it is not about people giving to them, but even the little they are giving from their personal resource. That is what is exciting about them. And like I said, at the end of the day, is to put smiles on the faces of their community members. At the end of the day, you don't have everybody waiting on government to come and construct that small toilets to create that gutter.
They've taken the initiative.
Or just taking the initiative. So that's what we are doing at this weekend.
So viewers, those are our 10 winners, if you like, 10 nominees. These are the people who will parade on Saturday at the Accra International Conference Center. So all of them are winners in their own right.
Yes, but at the end of the day, we'll have an overall winner, but all the 10 will be receiving awards just to recognize their efforts and encourage them to keep doing what they are doing.
And I realize that more of them are into the educational sector.
I think it's just coincidental. Last year, we had a mix of sectors. We had people from the agri sector and a lot. I think just this year, maybe because of the kind of nominations we got, that's how come, yeah. But it's nothing special about education.
So walk us through the program on Saturday.
So on Saturday, we are celebrating the nominees, but then they are going to come along with their family members and friends. It's an awards night. They will be receiving plaques. We would also have Corporate Ghana there because some of them are having to be doing something in areas these nominees are working in. The idea is to be able to showcase them to Corporate Ghana so that in any way whatsoever they are able to support them to expand their impact. They'll be able to do that. This event will be live on Joy News and Joy FM, as well as all on our social media platforms. You don't need to be there. The event itself is strictly by invitation, but the broadcast will be live on TV, radio, and online, and we would want to encourage as many people as possible to be able to follow us on these platforms. Who knows, maybe there's a friend here, or you might be encouraged by somebody's story to be able to nominate someone from your community to be part of this award in subsequent events.
All right. So so now in terms of voting is over.
Yes, voting is over.
There's no opportunity to vote again.
No, until next year.
And then the other matter is that the overall winner was from with what? You don't want to disclose it. You don't want to disclose it now.
Yes, it's all part of the surprise on Saturday. Yes.
Yes, and it starts now what time?
It's exactly at 7. It's 2 hours. It's going to be on air exactly at 7. By 9, we are done.
And I know you have people who are also supporting in terms
Absolutely,
of
yes. We have sponsors. We have McDan Foundation, thanks to DBS Industries, thanks to Gold Keys Properties. We are also pleased to have the First National Bank to be part of these awards for this year.
And our door is still open for more sponsors.
Exactly. Between now and Saturday is a lot of time. You want to be part of the celebration. It's never too late. It's just a matter of placing a call, 0242 161570, 0242 161570, and we'll be at your doorstep to
Well, Corporate Ghana, there's an opportunity you don't want to miss out, because we have recognized the people who are making impacts in our society. They are not looking up to the government. They are not looking up to anybody. In their own small way, they are bringing smiles on the faces of people who hitherto wouldn't have had any kind of joy. And these are people we are celebrating on Saturday. Come support us and let's make it better. Eva, thank you very much for coming through.
Thank you so much.
And I guess we'll have more to talk about this ahead of Saturday.
Absolutely.
All right, MFI team lead for our program Joy Impact Makers 2024. And it's brought to you by McDan Foundation, Gold Keys Properties Limited, DBS Industries, and First National Savings. It's never too late to join our league of sponsors for this year's edition. Again, just call at Joy News or Joy FM, and then we'll have a nice package for you. This event will come off even more next year, so it will be a time to do it. Now, before we go, it's football time in Germany as the country hosts the European Football Championship. Officials said they were taking security very seriously, and they are so far satisfied with their security situation. Joining us from Berlin is DW's Thomas Sparrow for a conversation on the Euros 2024. Now, Thomas, have there been any security incidents so far, and how are officials dealing with security challenges?
There have been minor disputes between fans, but so far security officials have said they are happy with the way the European Football Championship has developed in terms of security. They had already, before the tournament began, stressed that this was a very high priority for them, that they were looking very carefully at a series of possible security challenges, and that for them, for security officials, this was not a period where they could simply relax and enjoy. On the contrary, there was a period where they would be very alert for possible threats ranging from hooliganism to possible terrorist attacks. And that's why security officials have stressed that so far they are satisfied, but that they will continue, obviously, to monitor the different matches and fan zones. A big part of the strategy here in Germany when it comes to security has to do with trying to obviously guarantee that stadiums are safe, but also that fan zones are safe. That is a bit more of a challenge than securing a stadium, because there are no tickets to enter and it's difficult to control who can come in. And some of the challenges that they're facing, some of the security threats, or at least potential security threats, have to do, on the one hand, with possible lone attackers, on the other hand, with a more sophisticated kind of threat coming, for example, from an IS offshoot in Afghanistan. These are also elements that security officials, especially the German Interior Minister, have stressed in the last few days. But so far, they are satisfied with the way the championships have gone when it comes to security.
Right, Thomas Sparrow is our partner at GW in Germany. Well, that's our show for today. For more stories, log on to our website, myjoyonline.com. Whatever you are up to in the hours ahead, I hope it's profitable. My name is Elton Brobe. Same time tomorrow, we'll be back with another exciting edition of The Pulse. Have a good evening.